Advanced Australia Fair, Gartain Band with Elaine Canning. And now here in Croke Park, a run of it.
So just a few minutes to go then before the action begins here at Croke Park. Briefly to our studio panel, Kieran Whelan, how's this going to work out and what do we need to do from an Irish point of view right at the start of this game to get our mark set?
Well, I think you hope that Joe Kernan has learned from last year, Michael. You'd hope that we've our homework done on the kickouts. Justin Fletcher's kickout is very predictable. Hopefully that we can attack on our own kickout as well. You know, we need to get a couple of scores early in the game just to settle us into the game. And at times when we need to slow it down around the middle, we do that and work simple marks into the scoring zone. It's about Ireland getting points on the board quick, hoping that the Australians have overdone it in New York last week and staying in this game, being in at half time.
Joe has talked a lot this week, Desi, about the fact that Ireland want to play positive football. In other words, he's saying he's not going to rely on the kind of defensive style of football that we're so used to these days, but at the same time they do have to be sensible.
Absolutely, but we have the men inside. Aidan O'Shea, Diarmuid Connolly's probably one of the best footballers in the country the last 4 or 5 years. Bernard Brogan. These players are real quality, real finishers, and like Joe knows that he needs to get the ball into these guys, making clean marks, giving them free shots at the goal, because if they do that, Ireland have some great forwards, but at the same time, with a team of all Australians, there's real quality in that side.
There surely is, there's no doubt about that. Listen, the three of you guys have played this game. Sean, give us a feeling of what your butterflies are like, if you like, a few minutes before the throw-in, and what you're concentrating on.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different to playing a key into county game. You just want to get your hands on the ball quick, and I think Ireland need to settle down, fellas winning their own battles. But for me, importantly, and I think it's kind of underrated kind of thing in this game is, especially from an Irish point of view, we need to get our interchange right. Our rotations have been very poor compared to the Aussies because it's second nature to them, because we need to be running hard come third or fourth quarter, so fellas coming off can reserve an energy to last the game, where like it's just second nature to the Australians. Australians come off like kind of taking a break. It's still in the psyche when an Irish fella comes off, he thinks he's playing bad, like, but he's not. So if your call, get off there, get your 2 minute spell, take a break, and then you're back on again, because basically you'll have sustained kind of effort, over the 72 minutes.
One of the things, Kieran, that we saw 12 months ago in Australia was the start that the Australians made. In actual fact, to be realistic about it, the game was over basically at half time. There was 10 points in it in the end, but that perhaps was because they took their foot off the pedal a little bit. So Ireland clearly cannot afford to let something like that happen tonight.
Yeah, I think they have to go man to man, and you have to press your own man. You know, you can't take more than 6 hand passes in a row, and sometimes the Australians can overdo that. So Ireland have to push them out the field and force them to kick from out the field. If they let them beyond that middle third, Australia will find gaps in behind and they create scoring chances. So really each man individually has to press up and work really hard off the ball to pressurise them, keep them pinned back.
All right, lads, thanks for that. We are all ready to go then. So enjoy the match in the company of Marty Morrissey, Martin Carney and Luke Darcy.
Thank you very much, Michael. Good evening. Welcome to Croke Park on this cold, frosty evening where we're really looking forward to this international rules test. The tests themselves have had their moments, even hit a few potholes on the road, especially in 2005 and 2006. But indeed, as Pádraig Duffy, the Director General, told us on RT News yesterday, they had a very positive meeting with the AFL, and there will be a test next year in Australia, as well as the possibility of a game in the United States of America, and possibly extending the series to a 2-game test. But right now, as you join us, it's Ireland v Australia. Can Ireland win back the Cormac McAnallen Cup? As I mentioned earlier in the scene set, they lost last year by 10 points. It's the amateurs of Ireland versus the professionals of Australia. I welcome our visitor and co-colleague, that's Luke Darcy, former Australian footballer. And from the Australian perspective, Luke, what is the attitude? What is the feeling as they're warming up?
Well, Marty and Martin, firstly, I'd like to say it feels like a great honour and a privilege to be here on the 95th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. The Australians have spoken about that a lot. They've learned a lot about the history and what it means to the Irish, and understand that there's a great excitement in Australia about the quality of team that's out on the park here, the quality of coaching. Last time the Australians played here, they were poor. It wasn't our full-strength side. They got beaten badly at Croke Park. So they're on a mission, this team. It is the best of the best Australian players. A lot of them played in the test last year when they won in Perth, and a really focused group who feel like they can come over here and win a big game on this significant day.
And from our viewers' perspective, who are the players that I know they're all brilliant footballers, but who in particular are you looking to in terms of leadership, in terms of skill and talent and the ability to use their own ball?
Keep your eye on the captain, Luke Hodge, who's now a 4-time premiership player in Australia. He won the Jim Steins medal last year as the best player. He won it as a 17-year-old when he played against Ireland in under 18, so he's a star. Paddy Dangerfield's one to look out for. He's the highest profile recruit. He's moved from the Adelaide Crows to Geelong, so super quick, super talented. But the rest of them are all superstars of their own team. They're all very talented. They're all very focused here tonight.
The voice of Luke Darcy will be joining us all the way through the evening here in our commentary. Also Martin Carney. From an Irish perspective, we're looking at 5 Dublin footballers that won the All-Ireland. We're looking at the toss here with Luke Hodge and Bernard Brogan. Joe McQuillan, that we're well acquainted to. Australia seem to have won the toss. Can Ireland bridge that 10-point gap, as Kieran Whelan and the lads were saying to Michael? It seemed to flatter the Irish, the 10-point deficit last year.
Yeah, very much so, Marty, it must be said. But again, what I see tonight, Marty, is a collision of 2 indigenous games. I see a great incentive, for example, from the Irish point of view, of amateur players, showcasing their talents against a professional team, and again trying to reflect the quality of our own game. But it must be said, Marty, that our game has become too characterised by caution, and I'd love to see tonight Ireland, putting a growing emphasis on attacking with the ball and getting their tackles in quickly, not kicking the ball away willy-nilly, and trying to activate their 3 full forwards. In particular, I'm interested in seeing Diarmuid Connolly, Aidan O'Shea and Bernard Brogan working in tandem in the full forward line. But it's a great night, great potential to this game, and really we're looking forward to a very, very good contest.
Indeed, the Australians have their last huddle. This is their moment. They've spent a week in New York. The plan was to play a game in Gaelic Park, New York, but it just didn't happen. But they have been training here diligently. For Joe Kernan, of course, he's represented and managed his club to 3 All-Ireland club titles, his county to an All-Ireland title, and as he said many times, the ultimate honour is to manage your country, and that's what Joe Kernan from Crossmaglen is doing this evening. You're looking at, of course, at Alistair the Clarkson, the Australian manager, who's been outstanding indeed with Hawthorns. I mean, you can tell me what, Luke, about him.
Marty, he'll go down as one of the all-time great coaches of Australian football. He's won the last 3 premierships in a row. Alistair Clarkson, he's won 4, and they are favourite to do it again, Hawthorn. It's an incredible record. He'll go down in history as one of the all-time greats.
With 2 match referees in this international rules, we've Matthew Nichols, one of the most experienced AFL officials. We've Joe McQuillan from Cavan. Matthew Nichols has taken charge of over 200 AFL games, including the grand final. The ball is thrown up and away we go. Australia won the toss and are playing from right to left, and 4 quarters of 18 minutes each before us here, so let's enjoy and savour this particular test.
Free kick against Robert Murphy, the All-Australian captain this year, and the first tackle. They're very focused on the pressure, the Australians. It's something they feel like they do very well.
Ball is intercepted and tapped back for us, Jared Roughhead. He's going forward is Hayden Ballantyne from Fremantle. Long ball up. Good catch and a good mark as well for Australia.
Yeah, that's one thing, actually, Marty, we're looking out for is the accuracy of the kicking from both sides, in particular from the Australian point of view. Beautiful punted pass with the flat of the foot.
Robbie Gray from Port Adelaide, 27 years of age. This is his second cap. He's already scored 5 points, and that is going behind as such. And that is Australia up and running. So 3 points. 3-pointer, it was over the bar, it was over as such. So Australia are on the score sheet first. Good mark by Gary Brennan from Clondegad and County Clare. First international cap for him.
Yeah, Mickey Quinn on the ball there, and interesting just from the viewer's point of view, the ball must travel 15 metres in order for the ball to be marked.
You see the Irish are chipping around at the moment because as they look up the field, there's a real zone the Australians have got on. It's one thing Alistair Clarkson is known for in Australian football. He'll zone back, have his players in defence. So this kick now, there's a lot of Australian jumpers back here.
Matty Donnelly from County Tyrone taking the free. Donica Walsh from Kerry gaining the mark. Could still work out for Ireland, but good defending by Robert Murphy from Western Bulldogs. Ireland put the pressure on. The ball crosses the end line and wide.
Yeah, that actually was wide by Conor McManus. He's one of the guys we're looking to tonight to actually come up with a couple of vital scores for Ireland. Normally very accurate from those situations that uncharacteristically drifted wide.
Dustin Fletcher, the kick in here for Australia. 40 years of age, played his 400th game, the third player in the history to do that, and he's kicking it off a tee tonight, which he hasn't done before.
And it's a pretty impressive kick, Luke, right into the middle of the field. We're going to see a lot more of Dustin, I feel, as Australia go forward. Lee Montagna gives a long ball. Ireland under a little bit of pressure here. Owen Cadigan from Cork is fouled, and that's going to be a free out for Ireland.
Yeah, good defending that time by Owen Cadigan. I think that his jersey was being pulled. I think that's the reason for the free out. But so far, again, looking quite good.
Not a great kick, but it comes for us Lee Keegan. Good work here by Rory O'Carroll, laying it on for us Matty Donnelly, who is operating on this right wing in front of the Hogan stand. That's a pretty good ball. It's a great ball. First Conor McManus into the middle. Fletcher's off his line. There's a chance of a goal! Ireland have scored sensationally. It's big. Aidan O'Shea from County Mayo has scored a cracking goal for his country.
Yeah, wonderful piece of opportunism by Aidan O'Shea. Ball put across by Conor McManus, and again from Aidan's point of view, that's something he's not used to. It's kicking a ball with his right foot, but a lovely piece of opportunism, a good finish.
Yeah, the Australian zone broke down badly there, Marty. There was players out everywhere. The good kicking skills of the round ball were evident there. The Irish, brilliant start for them.
Great response to that earlier score from Robbie Gray and over. As Ireland go in pursuit of more scores. Beautiful catch by Brendan Goddard. Gets the mark as well. Decides to fist it clear. There's David Bundy. Lee Montagna left it behind him. Nice little chip going forward from way out the field. That is a great effort by Dermot Connolly.
Yeah, I was just making the point to look beforehand, the players to look out for. Two of them are Aidan O'Shea and the other one was Dermot Connolly. Probably the best striker of all that I know in Gaelic football at the moment. Doesn't need that type of room at all to score scores. You know, can do it under pressure, but when he has room like that, he'll finish.
Again, the kick out from Dustin Fletcher, 40 years of age. Last competitive match ever in his career. He actually came out of retirement to participate tonight here in Croke Park. And I'm sure at the end of the match there will be a little celebration amongst the Australians. But will they be celebrating a victory? Here comes Lee Montagna laying it off. As the Australians go long. Well knocked away by Gary Brennan. Picked up here by Nick Rewalt. Sending it across. Jack McCaffrey, Footballer of the Year. You can tackle between the shoulders and the thighs as such.
Yeah, brilliant tackle there from Robbie Gray. It's something that the small forwards of Australia pride themselves on. Their forward pressure, and he came up with a big play there, Robbie Gray, and another short one to Sam Mitchell.
Yes, Sam Mitchell now is a very good opportunity, but just looking at the structure of the Irish team, it looks to me as Jack McCaffrey is back playing in a sweeping role, something that we're used to seeing in Gaelic football.
Sam Mitchell drops it in, but Niall Morgan.
Bizarrely, mate, he's a natural right footer, Sam Mitchell, and he chose to take that kick with his left foot, so he's very good on either side of his body, but went with the non-preferred.
Sam Mitchell, the aforementioned, dropping it down. This is Nick Rewalt knocking it back as Australia try and break down the Irish defence. Aidan O'Shea, goal scorer, lays it off. There's Lee Keegan, and away come Ireland. Passing the midfield area, Paddy Donnelly. Unable to keep it in is Bernard Brogan. It is going to be a sideline ball for Ireland.
Interesting tactically, actually, Marty. They've put Aidan O'Shea back into a sweeping position, and now there he is up on attack.
Dropping this in, plenty of cover. Good hands again by Dustin Fletcher. 6'6", no problem for him to deal with a high ball. Easton Wood, Western Bulldogs, lays it back. Far as Andrew Gaff, the West Coast. Ball just carries a little bit on speed. Jack McCaffrey picks it up, he'll tear away. Again, good hands, laying it off quickly for us. Conor McManus, who turns and hits a beauty! Conor McManus, the pride of Monaghan, scoring for his country from Clontibret.
I know it's early stages yet, Marty, but Ireland seem to have adapted better to the requirements of the game. And McManus, we have talked about earlier about the quality of his finishing, that time on his left foot, just a delightful ball with the inside of his foot. That's a very good score for Ireland and a great start.
12 points to 3, 7.5 minutes play. Remember, 4 quarters of 18 minutes each in this international rules. Hayden Ballantyne, not a great ball. The referee's whistle was blown and it's free for Australia.
Yeah, incorrect disposal. The Australians really struggling with the kicking at this early stage of the game. They're overusing the handball and turning it over. Here's Robert Murphy going forward.
Robert, mighty kick, dropping it in, putting the Irish under pressure. The referee felt that Ireland were fouling. There was a little bit of a pull on the jersey. An acknowledgement from Owen Doyle from Kildare as this ball was dropping in on Eddie Betts. Referee blew the whistle, free for Australia.
And this little man kicked 63 goals this year in the AFL season. Incredible amount for a small forward, highly skilled player.
Yeah, the funny thing is I thought he got away with a pull that time. I think the pulling was in the other direction. But nonetheless, he took the opportunity. A good score for Australia.
Another 3 points.
And they needed that. The Irish have had a great run after Robbie Gray scored the first over. So they desperately needed that, the Australians, at settling 3 points.
Wonderful catch, wonderful mark from Aidan O'Shea.
To me, that's his best position, Marty. He's out in the middle of the field. I've always thought that about him, a more natural midfielder than full forward.
Peter Hart, O'Shea again, hefty shoulder. Here's Dermot Connolly, looking around for options. That's a pretty good ball over towards McManus, with a little bit of support there from Darren Hughes, but the referee's whistle is blown. It looks like that was out over the end line and wide.
Yeah, so far Ireland look a little bit more polished than Australia. Again, they're varying their tactics quite a bit. Aidan O'Shea in particular, from whom a lot is expected, is fluctuating between full forward and in the middle of the field. But as a scorer and as a kind of a provider of scores, he's done quite well so far.
Great catch again, superb to watch. That was Darren Hughes. Good ball, long ball, but again, this time it's Luke Hodge that's there, the captain of Australia, one of the players that Luke Darcy mentioned. We keep an eye on. Robert Murphy, down far is Harry Taylor. Kieran MacDonald from Tipperary, picked up sweetly by Grant Birchall.
That's a great tackle by Kieran MacDonald. Actually, one of the things that has surprised me about Australia so far is their hand passing doesn't carry the accuracy that you normally expect from them.
Yeah, it's a good point, Martin. They've missed, simple handballs, a metre that you would expect players of this quality not to miss.
Sideline ball for Ireland off the hands of Harry Taylor. It's going to be taken by Matty Donnell. Sweeping it in, testing out the Australians. Bernard Brogan is hovering. Who has the ball? Looks like Aidan O'Shea.
That's O'Shea again. He's been on the end of those balls, using his physique against the Australian players and he's so effective so far. Got that in the second bite of the cherry, it must be said, but he's proving quite a handful.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed with that, Luke Hodge, and the Australian defence. They wouldn't expect to get outmarked in that situation. It's a big play here for the Irish.
Aidan O'Shea pops this over. 1 goal, 1 over. Credited to the man from Brayfield.
Yeah, surprising about Australia at the moment, they seem to be bereft of the composure that I would have expected them to carry into this game. They're struggling with their hand passing and they're not finding their forwards as easily as I thought they would.
Middle of the field, breaking ball picked up by Kieran MacDonald. Having to go back just a little bit. There's Colin Begley from Laois. Just some information coming your way in terms of marks so far. 11 for Ireland, 5 for Australia, which is reflected indeed in the performance. Ball breaks inside towards Bernard Brogan. Hovering around the house is Conor McManus. Brogan shoots and scores. Captain leading by example. Good over, an extra 3 points for Ireland.
Yeah, Australian defence at the moment under a fair bit of pressure, and even the physical side of the game of the Australians, it's something you know that they are more than capable of doing. It hasn't been a lot of physical pressure so far for the Australian boys.
Yeah, so far Ireland are coming up with an infinite variety of attacking options. Brogan, McManus, O'Shea, all playing very well. But that area out around the middle of the field in particular is a wasteland for Australia at the moment. Ireland doing very well there.
Darren Hughes with a fine catch, but just giving the subsequent free away. Good hands, comes by Sam Mitchell. Nice combination. With the ball at the moment it's Patrick Dangerfield. Sam Mitchell is there too. Backfires Robert Murphy as the Australians build slowly. Dangerfield. Ball becomes available. Fires Robert Murphy. Nice combination football from the Australians using the fist pass. Giving it everything is Luke Hodge. Could work out okay, although it was a bit of a Hail Mary kick more than anything else. Comes back for us Jake Stringer, the youngest of the Australian squad at just 21 years of age. Dropping it in, punched away superbly. Comes back out for Sam Mitchell. He's on the left boot. Easy for the Ireland keeper Niall Morgan from Edendore, County Tyrone.
Yeah, when they get the ball into threatening areas, they're not finishing it the way that they would have expected to. That's the second or third ball that they have dropped into the goalkeeper's hand. That's a disappointing feature of the Australian play so far.
Robbie Gray's been helped off the field at the moment. The Australian has caught one, looks in the mouth, and he's just been in the hands of the doctors at the moment.
Here comes Peter Hart. Long ball, and look who's available. Oh, great interception by Robert Murphy. First played in the international rules back in 2002 when Gary Lyons was the manager for Australia, but that was such a good ball into Bernard Brogan, centimetres away from reaching the Irish captain.
Yeah, he saved a certain score there, Robert Murphy. It's an amazing year as captain of the Bulldogs.
Taking the sideline kick quickly is Billy McMahon. An all Dublin combination there as Bernard Brogan gathered. Just missed Dermot Connolly, which would have made 3 dubs in a row. Just didn't quite come off. Dangerfield.
So they're really trying to work their way with handball through this middle part of the ground, but it hasn't been that success. Not getting a lot of momentum through the ball at the moment. When they kick it, it's often been turned over.
Yeah, and in contrast, Luke, it must be said, Ireland are crisper, they're linking better, they're kicking more accurately, and they're finding their danger men in threatening positions.
Scoreline after 14, almost 15 minutes, Ireland 18, Australia 6. And interestingly, Australia haven't scored since the 8th minute. They're back in the attack here. Perhaps they can create. Good ball inside. There was a mark given, and Ireland were a little bit ball watching here, but Jared Roughhead from Hawthorns had crept inside the Irish cover, but satisfied I would imagine, to take the over and the 3 points.
Yeah, superstar player Jared Ruffhead, 4-time premiership player, and super quick for a big man.
Yeah, I just felt that time, Luke, that he ought to have turned and gone for his goal. Probably he's used it when he's marking, stopping. But had he turned that time, he had a 1-to-1. He had a great opportunity to score a 6-pointer.
Kick out from Niall Morgan. Brilliantly caught in the middle of the field by Harry Taylor.
I think we're happy with the 3 at this stage, Martin. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves.
Going forward is Patrick Dangerfield again, using the fist pass over as Lee Montana, testing out the Irish defence with aerial bombardment, and it's that man Nick Riewoldt from St Kilda.
Yeah, we've seen 2 great kind of exhibitions there of fielding from Harry Taylor. I think it was in the first part, and secondly that time from number 12, Nick Riewoldt. But that's what we want to see in our own game, is more and more of that fielding. It's one of the core features of our game that we don't see enough of in our Indigenous game.
That's another over. First for Nick Riewoldt. I have to say, with 16 minutes gone, Martin, there's been a lot of high fielding. Ireland have been dominating, particularly around the middle of the field, which maybe might be a surprise.
A bit of a surprise. Again, they're only 6 points up, though, with all the possession they have had, and Australia will be quite happy at that. They're very much in the contest.
Sam Mitchell delivering it back as the Australians with Luke Hodge. Ball goes away, Peter Taylor wisely touching it quickly. Whereas Bernard Brogan looked at the options and decided to put it over. Good score by Bernard Brogan, Ireland's captain.
Yeah, another turnover there. It was Luke Hodge, the Australian captain, who a simple pass, 15-metre pass in Australian football that they never miss, the Australians, but obviously the round ball, the difficulty there, and the Ireland team are making them pay every time.
Yeah, the other feature about it is the fact that there was a naivete at that time about the Australian full back line. Ireland had 2 players inside the cover and no Australian defender near them.
Australians go into the attack. This is Hayden Ballantyne. Ireland regain possession. Owen Cadigan lays it off. Great pressure from Australia. The decision favours Ireland. It's Paul Cribben from Kildare that's going to take this free. Looking at options. There aren't too many. Good thinking by Kieran MacDonald. Flicked away by Owen Cadigan. Good play by Ireland under severe pressure. Tackle is fine. Australia have a chance. It's 1 against 1. Oh, Niall Morgan. Brilliant save. It's a behind, but it could have been worse.
It certainly could have been worse as the hooter goes, Marty. Again, I was talking about naivety on the other side of the field, and there was no defensive cover. That time the Australian forward was right inside the full back line. Ought to have scored, but it took a fabulous stop from Niall Morgan to prevent a 6-pointer.
Well, the Irish will be happy at the end of the first quarter, but what about the perspective from the Australians?
Well, mate, it's a long way to go with 3 quarters. Without playing well, they are still right in the contest, the Australians. They kicked that 6-pointer, were only a couple of points down, so they didn't play well, but they'll feel like they're right in the game, the Australian boys.
Well, there's the score. It's Ireland 21, Australia 13. A lot more to come. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We will be picking up on the second quarter in just a few moments. Dahi O'Shea down on the pitch. He's found a bunch of Australians, would you believe? But anyway, look, Desi, we said we needed to get off to a good start in this, and I think what we've seen from that first quarter has shown that we did.
Yeah, absolutely. The lads have been together probably 9-10 weekends, a lot of training on Friday night, Saturday mornings. You can see that they're very well drilled. The players that have played well in Ireland this year: Bernard Brogan, Dermot Connolly, great pass in for the goal, Conor McManus, super finishing. So the player, and Aidan O'Shea had been very good. But like, you'd say that the Australians look a small bit rusty. Maybe the few days in New York shopping, it didn't do them any favours, because they certainly look a bit jet lagged out there at the start. It's unusual for us to see the Irish lads going up and catching the ball clean in midfield, and that's happened a lot in the first quarter, which is very unusual to see our lads getting big marks.
It is a big ask, Kieran, for the Australians to go from Australia to America to come over here in a relatively short period of time.
I know, but they knew what they were getting into, Michael. They knew that was the schedule. We heard this from an all-Australian team. They haven't reached the pitch of it. I don't know whether it's the cold that's affected them out there. I know it's a cold night, but they just haven't got to the tempo of the game. They haven't brought the pace of the game. They're struggling to get by Ireland in midfield. Ireland, we look for Ireland to be composed at the start. That's what they were. They slowed the game down. They worked a few short marks, got a few good scores, and they've been accurate in front of goals when they got their chance.
Let's go back to the match.
Second quarter, 8 points between the teams. Ireland 21, Australia 13. As obviously the teams have switched ends, and Australia playing from left to right now. Little touchdown there for Andrew Gaff to gather. I have to say, I think Ireland fielding in the middle of the pitch has been superb in the first quarter. Can Australia now counteract that? Well, we'll find out. Sam Mitchell laying it off for his Grant Birchall. The Australians knocked away just about by Rory Carroll. The Australians have a chance here, and that is a behind. That's a 1 point.
Yeah, that was a bad miss actually. That time there's a great opportunity of 3 points at least. Ireland defence badly exposed actually, just as it was at the end of the first quarter. Something that they need to look out for.
A score by Tom Rockcliffe from Brisbane Lions.
This is where the Australians struggled in the first quarter. They're getting beaten a lot on the kick-in. So the first one, a positive one here. Opportunity for Jake Stringer.
Again, testing ball for the Irish defence. And Nick Rewald is there, laying it back for us, Tom Rockcliffe. The Irish under a little bit of pressure here, just knocked away. Chance here for Australia. And it's very high. And it's over actually. That's a good score.
Hey, matey, I hate to say it, but I got a sense that the Irish experts at quarter time thought this game was just about over. It is far from over, and the Australian boys might have taken a while to settle in. A few cracks about maybe a week in New York taking the edge off. Don't worry, the Australian team, they're ready to go.
Yeah, very much so. They changed the point of attack somewhat. They're now putting the ball in directly much more quickly than they were in the first quarter, and starting to actually get some dividend out of that.
So the Australians responding on the field, but also in the commentary position. Good man, Luke.
The fighting hasn't started yet, Marty.
We have him outnumbered, Martin. It's 2-1. Anyway, back to Australia going forward here.
Well, it'd be like the heavyweight against the featherweight in our case, I'm afraid.
Had to fire a shot at some point, boys.
And here come Australia again. Dangerous ball, knocked away, rebounds, and Niall Morgan had to be on his toes and alert as Ireland counteract. This is Jack McCaffrey looking around. It's 2 against 1 here, but it runs on. Fires Bernard Brogan. Referee's whistle is blown.
It's a free kick to Luke Hodge. They played it in the back, and a very important free kick it was. The Irish umpire calling about that one on that occasion, and it would have been a certain goal.
Here comes Aidan O'Shea. Bernard Brogan available. He's dead. Oh, great save by Fletcher. Comes back to O'Shea. What can he do? He can score.
Yeah, great opportunism that time by Aidan O'Shea. Okay, we thought that the Australians had got away with it the first time where Conor McManus fouled the ball, but from the resulting free kick, just a couple of moments later, Aidan O'Shea just finishes with his favourite left foot. Good shot into the corner. Playing very effectively for the Irish, it must be said.
Great goalkeeping here by Fletcher. So brave onto Brogan's boot. Aidan O'Shea picking it up at the second attempt, but he cracked it home beautifully.
Yeah, the goalkeeping was matched equally by the opportunism that time of Aidan O'Shea. He'll be very happy with his 2 6-pointers.
10 points between the teams now. And here comes Andrew Gaff. Long ball up towards Eddie Betts. Also there is Luke Bruce, but it's Australia that get to the referee's decision.
Yeah, the 2 6-pointers really hurting the scoreboard for Australia. But when they go forward now, this is Eddie Betts, who, as we said, highly skilled player at the Adelaide Crows. You'd back him here for the over.
Playing in his 5th international. Came into this match scoring 21 points. That's an over. It's 27-20.
Yeah, when you consider Australia have had 3 very good attacks in the second half. They've had 2 went wide. They only got a point for each for the first 2 attacks. That kind of 3-pointer is a good response to the Irish 6-pointer.
The breaking ball gathered by Lee Keegan. Available over this side unmarked is Matty Donnelly. Quick ball inside towards Diarmuid Connolly. Makes an angle, then shoots and drops this in. Gary Brennan is underneath it. Knocked away on this occasion by Grant Birchall. Coming away with it is Tom Rockcliffe. And that's a mark. Good play.
Luke Bruce, the small forward, pushing up the ground, and now this is Hayden Ballantyne on the run. So the small forward starting to have an impact here for Australia.
Dyson Happel doing a little 1-2 here, easily distinguished with the blonde hair. Comes down for his Luke Bruce. Robbing it in. Ireland under pressure, but surviving. Good work on this occasion by Michael Quinn from Longford. And Philly McMahon going for distance to get it out of the danger zone. The ball bouncing favours Australia. Again, it's Dyson Happel. As far as number 3, that's Andrew Gaff.
Yeah, that's a very cleverly worked mark that time by Australia. Gives this man, Eddie Betts, again a very good opportunity of a score.
He's a good kicker of the ball, I have to say, Eddie Betts. And that's behind. That's 1 point for him. He's already scored 2 overs, 1 behind.
Yeah, just one of the issues that has cropped up a couple of times with Australia. They're not used to scoring goals as we know it in their game. And when they've got in close to goals a few times, they instinctively have put the ball high over the bar rather than have gone for the major or for the ball into the net.
Niall Morgan going for the long ball into the middle of the field, and the ball is kind of hanging a little bit, which is giving an advantage to the Australians to come forward. With the result, they have possession here as well. Eddie Betts performing with a good work rate. Dropping this in. Niall Morgan comes off his line. Good anticipation, good reading of the game by the Irish keeper. Owen Cadigan flicks it forward. Diarmuid Connolly over for his Michael Quinn. Good mark again by Paul Kerrigan. Making history is the very first father and son combination I've played for Ireland. It's a good ball in for his Bernard Brogan, and that is an over.
That's the really first bit of quality combined play we have seen from Ireland. A beautiful piece of passing. Started with a Diarmuid Connolly foot pass out to the wing, opened up the Australian defence. Finally the ball came to Bernard Brogan, best finisher, or one of the best finishers in the country, and took the ball, took a beautiful 3-pointer.
There's Paul Kerrigan, as I was mentioning there, his dad Jimmy Kerrigan played for Ireland as well. Here's Brogan again. And the umpire signals that that is also an over.
Yeah, missed kick in from Dustin Fletcher. He just miscued that, and the high skills of the Irish on display. They are just making the Australians pay every time there's a turnover.
Yes, Luke, and it must be said that the deficiencies exposed in the area of kicking a round ball are being manifest in the way the Australians have started this second quarter.
4 overs for Bernard Brogan. As 4 points in our own game. A little bit of involvement here from Philly McMahon, who's staying there. Michael Quinn, I should say, who's staying with the Australian.
This is Patrick Dangerfield, superstar player for now Geelong, and he's been pretty quiet. Haven't called his name a lot so far in this game.
Easton Wood dropping it in. It's 2 against 1, knocked away. Just keeping it in. Ireland. Matty Donnelly gets the credit.
Yeah, that's very clever play by the Irish that time. Just cleverly kind of playing the ball off the Australian defender. I'm not sure who it was. Was it Darren Hughes?
Lee Montagna it was. He handballed the ball into Montagna. And
Michael Quinn taking the sideline kick. Just 1 Australian and 1 Irish within the 20 metre, within the 45 metre line, I should say. But Ireland have the possession, have it under control here. This is Lee Keegan, vice captain for Ireland. Back for his Niall Morgan, goes down the middle channel and spots and finds superbly with a great ball Diarmuid Connolly. Michael Connolly on his shoulder, uses instead Matty Donnelly. Lovely ball inside. Good calling. Referee has blown his whistle, felt that the Irish man was being fouled. And that, of course, is Conor McManus, so it's a free in for Ireland on the 13-metre line.
Yeah, Australia will be somewhat kind of worried about the fact that the defenders are not getting used to the game so far. They're leaving huge gaps in the back. There were 3 Irish inside the Australian last line of defence that time.
Yeah, Martin, it's the zone that they're playing, so they're prepared to stay off their man on the basis they get it. But what's happening is that they're just skill level of the Irish, they're able to find their man and, as we said, keep making them pay.
Dustin Fletcher with the kick out, comes straight for us. Brendan Goddard, Harry Taylor, Patrick Dangerfield getting the return pass. Sam Mitchell is available.
Free kick coming back to Dangerfield, who was taken down after he disposed of the ball. That margin is just getting to a worrying level. 13 points is enough that the Australians won't want to go into half-time much more down than that.
I suppose one of the things, Luke, about this at the moment, Australia are just in their pre-season at the moment. Ireland are at the end of their season. A lot of these players have had a very good season behind them. They look that little bit sharper, it must be said, than the Australians.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Chance here on the 20-metre line for a point. That's a behind.
So most of these Australian players have just come off their 6 weeks annual leave, essentially. They've come back into camp to start training again for this match.
Yeah, and they're struggling, as we said before, to work the ball into the threatening areas, and they're struggling, actually, it seems, to bring their danger men into play.
Kick out from Niall Morgan. Making ball again, picked up by Jack McCaffrey. Flicks it forward at pace for us. Lee Keegan. 2 against 1 here, and beautifully knocked down. There's a chance here for Ireland. Bernard Brogan. Oh, the pass was a bit high, but it's in the net. Despite the collision with the post, the pass was a poor one, but was he inside that small rectangle? That's what they're protesting about, the Australians.
Well, whether or not he was inside the small rectangle, there was a ridiculous situation there where it was 3-1 Irish. The Irish lads were queuing up, actually, to put that ball in the net. I think, in fairness, he came from outside. He may have been inside when he finished it, but he ran from an outside position. I think that score should be allowed.
Just getting a touch was Paddy McBrearty. Yes, he had a hefty collision with the post, but in fact the decision seems to be a penalty, which is going to be taken by Conor McManus, taking on Dustin Fletcher.
Yeah, this will test Dustin Fletcher.
Referee is making sure everybody's outside the 20-metre line.
Well, the whole of Donegal will be disappointed that wasn't credited to Patrick McBrearty.
It's Clontibbert Monaghan against Essendon. Ireland versus Australia. Ireland win this one. Brilliant penalty by Conor McManus.
Yeah, the 3 6-pointers are the difference in this game, isn't it? 18 points is the margin, and it's the Irish ability to score the unders. The 6-pointers are really hurting Australia, so it's a crucial stage in this game for Australia. 18 points down. They really need to fight their way back here as we head into half-time.
Yeah, very much so, Luke. And Ireland are showcasing their strengths at the moment, in particular their strengths in using the ball into a forward line. And it's funny that in our own game at the moment, there's not enough long kicking in the ball. We're doing that tonight, but I think more than anything, the Australian defensive system isn't designed to actually cover off our 3 full forwards.
18 points between the teams now. Conor McManus with a goal, 1 over, 1 behind. Quite a contribution from that throw in. Ireland their possession, but a good mark by Luke Hodge.
That's an example of where the zone does work, where you're in front, you back yourself in to take the mark. And
Robert Murphy goes for distance. He's there again, he's wearing number 2, and there he is, Robert Murphy. Over for his Andrew Gaff. Dyson Hippo moving over. Referee's whistle blows. It's Joe McQuillan. I think it was
had to have been something off the ball there. It was hard to pick up.
Yeah, speaking of the ball, actually, it was interesting there, looking the way that Philly McMahon was drifting back into what we call a sweeping position in our own game to actually, cut out whatever long ball was going to come in from the Australians.
Nice combination of football from Australia again. Dyson Heppel going for distance, and there's a flick inside. The goalkeeper comes out, hits the post. There's a chance here of a goal, and Niall Morgan is happy to poke it away.
Once again, it's a golden opportunity for a six-pointer Australia's way, and it's not something they're used to doing. Eddie Betts, you can see an opportunity here. It comes back in. He tries to dish it off to Nick Riewoldt. Brilliant defence from the Irish, and the goalkeeper was fantastic.
And in fairness, it must be said, Luke, that is the third opportunity in this quarter where they've had, a chance of getting a six-pointer.
Yeah.
This is Andrew Gaff from West Coast, 23 years of age, winning his first cap for his country tonight here in Dublin. Dropping it in. Goalkeeper Niall Morgan is there, gathers cleanly. Then lays it off. Owen Cadigan makes himself available. Heppel is in hot pursuit. That's quite a good ball. Up first, Michael Quinn from Longford.
That's a beautifully dispatched pass that time. Wonderful weight on it. Very, very cleverly kicked with his left foot.
So is that one across the ground. It's such an advantage to be able to kick their way out of trouble, the Irish, although this one's turned over, so a big chance here for Australia.
Michael Quinn is playing well, I have to say, the Emmett Old man. Of course, his club very much involved in the Leinster Club campaign.
I thought that tackle there was quite high, but the free is going the opposite direction.
Jack McCaffrey fires Philly McMahon. Diarmuid Connolly calls. Difficult ball to reach. Sam Mitchell has it under control. Lays it off Farris. Luke Hodge.
There's always a very small margin between a spectacular pass and one that doesn't work. That time Connolly, I thought, was going to pick out Aidan O'Shea. It didn't work.
Great anticipation by Jack McCaffrey. We love to see Jack McCaffrey going forward with this acceleration and speed, but he does his primary job of defending equally as impressively. Donegal Walsh from Kerry, from the Kingdom. Nice 1-2 on the 20-metre line. Hitting this in, and it's off the post. Comes back for his Brendan Goddard, and there too is Robert Murphy. As Australia retain control. A little bit of luck, just hitting the post there. Dyson Heppel. Ireland regain. No mark given.
Yeah, but what was noticeable there actually when the Australians were trying to break out with the ball, I think it was their number 21, Dyson Heppel, had it. There was nobody running for him, there was no options for him outside, and that's one of the features that is disappointing me with Australia tonight, is that the athleticism that we normally associate with them isn't as sharp as it normally has been.
Heppel goes short. Far as Nick Smith from Sydney Swans. On far as Tom Rockcliffe. Hand pass statistics for Ireland 38, Australia 100. Interesting.
There's finally a couple of really decent short passes here in combination. The Australians have been able to get it, and the third one into a good position to score. It hasn't happened a lot in the first half. Get a bit of confidence out of this.
They should. Yeah, a nice punt that time from Andrew Gaff. Good opportunity again from Australia. They need to start taking risks, I think, somewhat at this stage, Luke. They've been quite cautious up to now.
It's Luke Bruce that's taking the fray, and that is a one-pointer. That's behind.
Yeah, I think the major issue, the major difference between the two teams is, okay, Ireland's link play, their interaction with one another is better than Australians, but also when Australia get the opportunity for a six-pointer, they're not used to taking them. They've missed three good opportunities.
Oh, Aidan O'Shea, magnificent catch. Magnificent mark in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, hasn't he? He's done that a number of times and scored the 2 6-pointers as well.
Good combination. It's Paul Kerrigan from Nemo Rangers in Cork. There's Lee Keegan, Westport, Mayo. The vice-captain has a lash, and it's a good one. Great over from Lee Keegan.
And that's a beautiful, again, two wonderful pieces of skill from Aidan O'Shea, two Mayo lads, Aidan O'Shea and Lee Keegan's finish. That slice kick off the outside of the foot, perfectly directed over the bar.
What about this from Aidan O'Shea? We love it in our own game of Gaelic football, but even the Australians must be impressed.
Yeah, we're really impressed with that. That's a big, powerful mark in our code as well. And the Australians, they miss one down the other end. The Irish just don't miss.
Eddie Betts is playing well. Over for his Dyson Heppel, laying it off. Sam Mitchell is going forward. Hawthorne's man. The Hooter sounds. And it is half-time in Croke Park in this international rules test. And it's been a very good second quarter. But as they say in Australia, as they say in Ireland, it's the third championship that counts. In the first quarter it was 21-13. In the second quarter it's 43-23. From 8 points to a 20-point gap. Ireland doing well in the international rules test. And certainly here a large crowd of over close to 40,000 really enjoying this opening half. The Australians have plenty to think about as they go into the dressing room. But Joe Kernan, you can see the coaching, you can see the strategy. It's quite evident in this opening half. Let's go down to the sideline for some reaction from a former Kildare player and of course Irish selector Dermot Earley with Jamie O'Mara.
Thank you, Marty. Dermot, does that exceed any expectation you might have had for the midway point?
Look, we're just happy with the performance so far. We're coming into the third quarter, which is the championship quarter, so we expect this is where the Aussies in their own game would actually push up the effort, so that's what we're expecting. But so far we're happy with the response, especially with the first quarter. And I suppose we've continued it on to the second quarter. A couple of things that we can improve on. We've slackened off a little bit. We've let them dictate a lot of marks around the scoring area. But so far, we're happy enough.
It took them, it seemed, quite a lot of time to adapt to the game. So do you expect them to just grow and grow as it goes on?
Well, obviously, as I said, this is the championship quarter. They've had 36 minutes of fierce football, and the intensity out there is really high. But as I said, it's the championship quarter in their game. This is where they will come out and throw everything at us, and we have to be ready for it.
So the message then to the Irish players is put this to bed in the opening minutes of the third quarter if we can.
Absolutely, and that's what we'll try to do.
We wish you well. Thanks, Dermot.
Thanks a million.
Back to you, Mark.
Half time in Croke Park. It's Ireland 43, Australia 23. Match analysis coming your way right after the break.
We are at the halfway point in this international rules test here at Croke Park. Ireland leading Australia by 43 points to 23. Now, by the way, keep an eye out for our special competition here on the programme tonight. That's coming up in a few minutes' time. Kieran Whelan, Desi Dolan and Sean O'Halpine here with me in studio. Kieran, I must say, I've enjoyed those two quarters. Good scores, nice action. And from an Irish point of view, obviously particularly good because we're 20 points up.
Yeah, enjoyable half football, Michael, and a real solid, good Irish performance. If you were to benchmark this performance against last year's first half, they're poles apart. We're solid right throughout. We're solid in defence. We're dealing with the high ball when it comes in. We're competing very well on kick-outs. We're committing bodies in that middle of the park. And up front, obviously, the story of the night, 37 of the 43 points coming from McManus, Brogan and O'Shea. They're just totally dominant up front. So, all in all, I think Joe Kiernan will be really, really happy at half-time. As Dermot earlier alluded to, at half-time, they will be a little bit concerned that they're given simple marks in the scoring zone to Australia. They haven't taken full advantage. It's only halfway through.
Yes.
You know, these series can swing on quarters if a team gets a dominant period, but certainly a good position for Ireland to be in.
And a cautious Dermot Earley was saying to us just before the break there, Desi, that it's the next quarter coming up, what they call the championship quarter or the moving quarter in other games. This is the one you have to watch. This is the one where you have to be good.
Well, traditionally you would expect Australia to show their fitness, show their legs, because they play on a bigger pitch. So you'd expect them to come out. You expect them to come out fighting a bit more. It's all just too nice at the minute. Ireland look like the professional team. They're clinical. They're playing the right ball in, and Joe Kernan's stamp is all over. It's like watching Cross McGlenn or Armagh. That long ball in is causing mayhem in the full back line for Australia. They can't deal with it. And in fairness, he's not interchanging Bernard Brogan,
yes.
Conor McManus,
yes.
and Aidan O'Shea too much. Them boys are on the pitch and they're causing mayhem.
Yeah, and actually, from that point of view, Sean, it's very stable kind of stuff. You know, as Desi was saying, because we've seen in other test series down through the years, you know, fellas running in, fellas running out and all that sort of thing. Joe likes to just do things simple.
Yeah, and I think that's been a huge difference between the Irish and the Australian performance tonight. They're just doing the basic things very well, and like the thing for Ireland was to play as much Gaelic football in this game, and then I mean we've seen the results in that and the overs that they've done. Just a few standouts for me is the difference between the two goalkeepers and their kick-outs. Dustin Fletcher really struggling, which is totally alien to him, I understand. Niall Morgan on the other side, his game management has been excellent. He's been like the 16th player, per se, when the ball goes over the full back line. He's coming out, he's very assured, and he's setting up plays. And his kick-outs to midfield, Aidan O'Shea is just wiping the Australians. Like, the Australians need to do something quick there, because basically, because once we're getting that allied to the the accurate kicks or the lateral kicks that we're getting in the forward line.
Well, sure, yeah. But Kieran, as Sean said, the Australian goalkeeper's also seen 3 goals go past him. 2 of these by Aidan O'Shea, one with the left foot, one with the right foot.
Yeah, well, you can rest assured that Ireland would have spoken about 6-pointers, and that's every year they talk about that. But the first goal came from Ireland just being composed. It was just a series of short marks. Worked it down the line, kept it simple. Dermot Connolly gives a great ball here into the corner, just not overplaying at 30-40 yards. Could have taken another mark there. Great vision across, and Aidan O'Shea was there to finish it off. Now you'll see Ireland had 3 men. This is where Australia have been very, very poor, particularly in their full back line. It was nearly a 3-on-1 situation. Any sort of breaking ball was going to fall to an Irish foot, and Aidan O'Shea finishes it very well. Same thing here again. Bernard Brogan found himself in space. Dustin Fletcher comes out. Aidan O'Shea probably knows Dustin Fletcher is off his line, and low buries it into the back of the net. The third then obviously was the penalty after Paddy McBurdy was pushed into the post. But again, it comes off very poor defending from an Australian perspective. You see there's 3-on-2 in there. McManus drops the ball down, and the referee could have let the goal stand, but McManus executes a great penalty. So in general, Michael, that is the difference. There's 18 points, and I would suspect that Australia in that full back line, they're trying to mark on front. They're trying to mark 10 yards on front. Ireland are composed with their kick pass, and they're working it to the half-forward line. They're putting shorter ball in over the top, more accurate ball. And I think they, in the second half, Australia will look at that at half-time and they'll say, we have to get our full back line sorted, because Ireland will get more 6-pointers if they don't get them.
Well, that is the big question. And the lads up in commentary, Desi, were mentioning this as well, and making that exact point, that this is where the Australians' problems seem to be stemming from.
Yeah, in fairness, the one thing about Ireland we talked about before the game, in terms of our biggest strength is getting clean marks and kicking points, and we have the full forward line to do that. You see the quality of Bernard Brogan in the championship at home this year. He scored 5 goals in 21, 5-19 from play. Aidan O'Shea, he's playing all over the pitch, and Mickey Quinn deserves massive credit. His club Kilo or Emmett Og are playing Portlaoise tomorrow, and he's out there representing his country, and that's what it means for the Irish lads. They really are tuned in. They've done massive work, and you can see it. It's all over the performance that they've put in so far.
I suppose also we should mention, Kieran, somebody like Bernard Brogan, who has put in obviously a big year in Dublin, winning the championship. You'd be very much entitled to take your foot off the gas at this stage, but he's leading by example out there. 4 overs in that first half. Yeah,
and I think we've maybe the Australians have underestimated the ability of the full forward line, but Bernard is certainly enjoying himself out there. He's drifting into space, and when he gets ball in hand, the one thing about Bernard is he's a great snapshotter. He can take a snapshot off his left or his right. We saw him kick a great point off his left in the All-Ireland final, but he's getting a lot of space, and I'm quite sure the Australians will certainly target him in the second half, himself and McManus and O'Shea in there. But as Desi alluded to, I think Ireland are using Aidan O'Shea very smartly as well, Michael. They're bringing him in out the field, leaving him back in, and he's getting a lot of possessions. Here, this is the point we're making. He's in behind, there's plenty of space. It's the Australians playing 10 yards in front. In Gaelic football, a good defender will play probably 2 or 3 yards in front. They're taking huge risks, and last year the pressure was on the Irish kickers and they weren't delivering good ball. They're delivering good ball this time, and it's caught the Australians out.
Yeah, we've seen the 3 Irish goals, Sean. And that's been important. That's been 18 points. The Aussies did have a good chance of getting a goal. Niall Morgan, I have to say, did well here and saved this one.
In fairness, here we go. So Ireland are trying to build up the play here. The ball is kind of turned over. Great tackle, Nick Rowles gets a great tackle in stick. So the Aussies have an overlap here. Jackie Stringer left in front. and Niall Morgan makes a great save, and that comes at a stage where Ireland would get momentum. But if the Australians had got that, the momentum could have shifted. So after that save, Ireland just continued on the great work they did, but like it could have been a game changer, as early in the first quarter.
Well, it could, because the point about it is, I suppose, as we said before, there are 6 points for each of these goals, and that's a huge thing in the match. Crowd enjoying this game, a crowd of 38,386 here at Croke Park.
RTE Sport and Aer Lingus are giving you and a friend the chance to win a break in beautiful Italy. You'll stay 3 nights in a 4-star hotel in Pisa, where you can take in all the local attractions and great cuisine on offer, plus there's €500 spending money too. For your chance to win, answer this. The 2015 GAA All-Star Footballer of the Year, Jack McCaffrey, plays for which of these counties? Is it Mayo, Dublin or Kerry? To enter, call 1516 71 71 82 or text the word football followed by your answer and name to 57001. Viewers in the north can also text to 57001 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday, November the 23rd. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Welcome back to the second half. Just about to start here in Croke Park. Great attendance, as Michael mentioned. 38,386 here enjoying this first half, and indeed lots of my media colleagues were very impressed with this opening half. Lots of high fielding, a couple of goals as well, and Ireland leading by 20 points as we go into this third quarter. But even in Australia here, always they mentioned just the start of the second half or the third quarter is so important.
Yeah, Luke and myself are having a chat there at half time, and we just think from an Australian point of view they need something to stir the blood at the moment. A crusty episode or two wouldn't go straight.
They've been fairly timid, the Australians. We know in the past there's been incidents where it hasn't been that savoury, Marty, but almost though they're in their endeavours to be fair, they've been a bit restrained, the Australians, so I think you'll see a bit more of a competitive edge here.
Yeah, we're not advocating violence or anything like that, but a little bit more competitiveness.
That's behind off the boot of Conor McManus. It's his second. He's already scored a goal from a penalty, 1 over, and 2 behind.
Well, this will be interesting because it hasn't been a great part of the game for the Australians in the first half. Dustin Fletcher's kick-ins have been marked regularly by the Irish.
Luke Darcy from Australia, All-Australian himself, and Martin Carney joining us here in the commentary position. We hope you're enjoying it not alone here in Ireland but indeed in Australia in the early hours of the morning over there. It's a bitterly cold, frosty night here, but dry, thankfully, and everybody enjoying this open game of football. Now, what can Australia do? Can they come back into the match? Can Ireland hold on? Here's Conor McManus, ball inside to Dustin Fletcher. Bernard Brogan was hovering, but they have the situation under control. Easton Wood from Western Bulldogs gathers. Good mark by Sam Mitchell from the Hawthorns club. Grant Birchall. Available to his immediate left is Patrick Dangerfield. Back again far as Grant Birchall. 3 against 3 here. Nick Riewoldt didn't quite connect. He might have the chance of getting it again. Touched along the ground, which is allowed. Nice little pickup indeed by Robbie Gray. And there's a chance for Australia, and that is
Lee
an over.
Montagna it was, who scored an important goal. 3 points and an important over.
Yeah, but it must be said, Luke, that the pick up that time from Robbie Gray deserved a finish like that. That was a wonderful piece of skill by Gray. The speed, the alacrity of that particular pickup, and then the actual crispness of the pass.
Yeah, it was a brilliant pickup. He was voted by the coaches in 2014 as their player of the year.
Kick out from Neil Morgan goes straight to Australia. Here comes Robert Murphy. Laying it back again far as Lee Montagna. Dropping it in. The Australians have it. Great fielding by Nick Riewoldt.
Well, he's a bit unlucky not to be paid the mark there, and he's not happy, Nick Riewoldt, the Irish umpire there. He's saying it's off hands, but
No, I agree with you, Luke. I think that should have been a mark for Australia. Should have had an opportunity of another 3-pointer.
Little flick away by Paul Kerrigan. But, Australia have it with Grant Birchall. Revolt is certainly giving it everything. Lee Montana, break didn't quite go his way, coming across to Billy McMahon, covering off. Pass is not a great one, but Donegal Walsh comes in. He still manages to get the ball away slightly. Paul Kerrigan flicks it away.
Been paid for a throw there, Marty. So Australians have had a fair bit of possession here in their forward half for a while, but have to get some more scoreboard pressure happening here. So good opportunity.
Yeah, and I just pick up on that point with you, Luke. They're pressing everybody forward at the moment, but if you cast your eyes to the other side of the field, there's one defender on the Australian side in their half of the field and 3 Irish attackers. So if there's a quick counter-attack, Australia will be very badly exposed.
David Mundy takes the fray, but it's an over. It's quite a good score.
We've got a little bit happening down there between Robbie Gray and a little bit of a push and shove. You can see the bottom of your screen there, a bit of a push and shove with Gray. So a bit of that competitive edge coming into the game. And you're right, Martin, with the tactics. It's a real forward press, we call it in Australian football, where you push all your players forward. Alistair Clarkson, an extraordinary coach, and it's highly risky, but it's working at the moment.
Well, risk very often brings us a reward, Luke, and Australia certainly will be hoping that. They've had a very positive opening to the third quarter, shall we say.
Sam Mitchell feeding Eddie Betts, and Niall Morgan anticipating, and a good clearance as well. Matty Donnelly gathers. Diarmuid Connolly. Pass goes astray, easily gathered by Hayden Ballantyne from Fremantle. Takes it quickly, fires Lee Montana. On the overlap there was number 16, that's David Mundy, but Ireland have the possession back with Paul Kerrigan. Good running by Darren Hughes. Matty Donnelly lays it off. This is good play by Ireland. The counter-attack that Martin was mentioning is available, but Conor McManus took the mark and gave a chance to everybody to draw breath perhaps and take control.
Yeah, lovely bit of instinctive little handoff that time from Donegal Walsh. Ended up with the ball getting into Conor McManus.
That's straight over the crossbar, and that's his second over. 2 behinds, 2 overs, and a goal from the penalty. It's a good evening's work for Conor McManus.
Yeah, it sure is. He's been an enormous player in this game for Ireland. They look pretty comfortable there, the Irish coaching staff, but again, as an opportunity, Lee Montana had to go back and kick a 3-pointer. He went a handball, mucked it up, and the Irish make you pay every time.
Yeah, very much so. That's untypical of Australia, it must be said, Luke, in general, but tonight specifically, they're just so indecisive in front of goals when they have the opportunities to finish, and as a consequence of that, the last time, that break forward, that quick counter-attack from Ireland got a 3-pointer for them, where it should have been a score for Australia at the other end.
Here's Jack McCaffrey. Ball carries a lot of pace and accuracy. Darren Hughes coming forward. That's a really good score by Darren Hughes. That's his first over in this international series. The pass from Jack McCaffrey was dropping from the sky for a while. Good fielding, took it on the run, just a little shimmy, and planted it between the posts.
That's a game high margin too, 21 points. It was 20 at half time, and despite what looked like a pretty good start for the Australians, they being outscored again.
Gaining a little bit of control in the middle of the field in this second half or third quarter. Ball inside for us, Dyson Heppel. Coming forward is Sam Mitchell. Little shimmy, floating one in. Should be a good mark, and it is, and it's a chance for Australia to put more points on the scoreboard. Thanks this time to Luke Brust.
Yeah, 3 Hawthorn Premiership teammates combined there. Roughhead to Mitchell and now Brust.
Bruce takes the free himself and puts it over. That's 3 points.
Yeah, they need more explosive play. They need to be more, energetic and capable of applying greater pressure than they have been up to now. And in particular, when they get the ball into forward positions, to finish a little bit more decisively than they have been. They've been somewhat tentative around the Irish goals, and again, the absence of their ability to get 6-pointers is killing them.
Here comes Aidan O'Shea. What a wonderful first half he had.
Yeah, he's killing them too, Marty. Aidan O'Shea, he's had an incredible game.
Lee Keegan, 2 male boys combining here. Trying to play it away. Diarmuid Connolly just couldn't reach it. Picked up instead by Andrew Gaff comes back instead for his Dyson Heppel. Little 1-2 with Harry Taylor. Andrew Gaff again, spotting the fact that Brendan Goddard was available out in front of the Cusack stand. There's a chance here of floating one in, and Nick Riewoldt is such a good footballer. You can see he's trying hard. The quality ball isn't coming into him, but his spirit and his passion is certainly there, and there's a bit of passion and spirit coming into the game off the ball as well.
A little bit, but not enough in some respects, Marty. Again, Australia need to get convert those kind of opportunities into 3-pointers, not 1-pointers, and that was again an opportunity lost.
Yeah, you can see a bit more happening off the ball here at the moment. Tom Rockcliffe, the Brisbane Lion player, getting a little animated there.
He was having more than just a conversation with Owen Cadigan. It is an infringement. I didn't quite see it. Jake Stringer seemed to have won the ball fair and square. He's the youngest of the Australian squad, as I mentioned.
They played holding the ball there, Marty, which is a pretty quick call from Australian terms.
Rory O'Carroll, Kilmacud Crooks, there's Billy McMahon, just up the road, Ballymun Kickups. Aidan O'Shea.
Yeah, again, we just see in that last episode there where the ball bounces before it comes to a player. It creates a disadvantage for him, so to speak. Now, Aidan O'Shea that time, earned a free, but normally the ball needs to go to hand when it's passed.
Brendan Goddard anticipated the long ball. This is Harry Taylor, back to Goddard once more. Good anticipation by Philly McMahon, All-Star Footballer 2015. Ball flicked back again to Jack McCaffrey, Footballer of the Year. And that is going to be free for Australia.
Yeah, Luke Bruce, the tackler there.
Yeah, sometimes actually maybe the viewers find that a little strange when a guy we would call a guy being pulled down. We would expect him to get the free kick, but that time when the ball isn't released after you've been tackled, between the shoulders and the knees, then it's a free against you.
Luke Hodge getting involved, trying to set up Grant Birchall. Testing ball again, Niall Morgan. Good call by the keeper. Good clearance, gets it out for his own. Cadigan steps away from the challenge. Little 1-2 perhaps, but Cadigan stopped in his tracks. Colin Begley is the player in possession. Laois footballer, down for his Diarmuid Connolly from Dublin and St Vincent's on the north side. Just down the road, not too far from where we are. Look what the keeper is, Dustin Fletcher.
Yeah, it was interesting. Luke Hodge, the captain, looked back at Fletcher in the last play and said, "You're going to come out and get involved more." And he gave him a bit of a spray, and he responded. Dustin Fletcher really got up the ground there.
Oh, very effective altogether. The way he came out that time, he came 40 metres actually to intercept that ball. Very good piece of anticipation and positive goalkeeping.
Once again, it's Aidan O'Shea, but it across the sideline, so a line ball for Australia. Coming forward, it's Dyson Heppel. Eddie Betts. Sideline ball. Great work rate, I have to say. You'd be impressed with Eddie. As he drops this in, ball is knocked away. Aidan O'Shea just a little touch. There is Matty Donnelly. Peter Hart. A little flick up and then a volley. Nice skill by the Tyrone man. Marigold Kieran and Ballygawley. Oh, the little layoff was lovely. Just a little bit off. But the idea and the mindset was top class.
Yeah, indeed, Marty, it must be said that was a beautiful flick up that time. Just a little bit unlucky that it didn't go to hand, but a good anticipation once more by the Australians.
Andrew Gaff is going forward here.
One of the hardest running players in the game for Australia, Andrew Gaff, and on display there. Really ran 150 metres to get involved.
Eddie Dangerfield knocking it back for his Grant Birchall. Good mark, good play. It's Australia. Dangerfield sending one in towards Nick Riewoldt.
It's a very good mark by Nick Riewoldt that time under a lot of pressure, I think. I'm not sure who it was. Was it Lee Keegan?
It was. As Riewoldt thought about taking a short one, but has decided against it, and perhaps will be happy to go for the score here. one is curling, and it's an over. It's a 3 points.
Very well struck kick actually by Revolt with the inside of his foot from a difficult enough angle, and again a reward for some enterprising attacking by Australia. Good use of the mark, good use again of the free opportunity he got that time.
Really important stage of the game this for me. In the third quarter here, it's back to 14 points. If the Australians can just peg this back a bit, they'll go into the last quarter and feel like they're a real chance.
Kick out comes straight for David Mundy from Fremantle. Sam Mitchell, Hawthorn's man. That is going to be free for Australia. Dangerfield releases the ball for us. Brendan Goddard makes a little bit of space for himself. We're all hanging around the 20-metre line. The ball is not released, so it's going to be a free out to Ireland, as the referee Joe McQuillan explains.
Yeah, you've got to applaud the Australians, like they're continuing to go forward with the ball. It's a refreshing approach they have, but as I said many times already this evening, Marty, they leave themselves very exposed at the back if they cannot finish off their attacks.
This is Michael Quinn, this time losing out. Comes as far as Jared Roughhead, drops it in. Nick Riewoldt.
Yeah, great centering ball, Jake Stringer, 21-year-old from the Bulldogs. And they call the package back in Australia. Marty and Martin, I think he's the full package.
Oh, very much so. That's a great bit of play actually by Riewoldt that time. The way he held off the challenge of the defender, used his strength, used great anticipation, gives himself now an opportunity of a three-pointer.
He's 33 years of age, 6'4", winning his 4th cap tonight. He kicks that into Hill 16 over the crossbar for another over.
Starting to become a bit of a factor, Nick Riewoldt, in this game. He's an enormous work rate. He's been renowned as one of the hardest running key position players that we've ever seen in our game, and he is just presenting nicely at the moment. So back to 11 points. Big moment in this game coming up.
Very much so, Luke. Like, considering the possession that Ireland have had, you would think they should be further ahead, but Australia are really going well. They're playing very well in this third quarter.
Some of these Irish kickouts going astray as David Mundy sets up an opportunity. The umpire has signalled wide, but it was a great opportunity for Australia. But Niall Morgan might consider using a short ball rather than a long ball, because the dominance that they had in the first half has switched considerably to the Australians, and that's why Dermot Earley, Darragh O'Shea and Joe Kernan are having a chat. Here comes Ireland. Dermot Conlon. Look at the goalkeeper. He's decided to move out, and he's still on his way back if Ireland can get it in quickly enough. There's a chance here perhaps. Colin Begley spraying it across, but Australia, great defender.
Harry Taylor, brilliant play, came in and intercepted. Big moment for Australia.
Hayden Ballantyne takes up the responsibility. Peter Hart defends well. Great open game of football here in Croke Park. Spraying it across. Paul Cribben taken out of it, but no fray as the ball had been released. There's a chance here for Robbie Gray, who gives it back. There's a tackle is by Owen Cadigan is fine. Ball is back down into the Australian half of the field. This is Luke Hodge. Sam Mitchell.
Ireland going very defensive at the moment. They're not getting the ball around the middle of the third. They're inviting Australia onto them. It's a habit we have in our own game of defending a lead. I don't think it's benefiting Ireland at the moment. They need to push forward a little bit more, because when they get it into threatening areas, they show that they have the quality to finish off their opportunities.
Owen Cadigan lays it off. Waiting for the challenge almost as Michael Quinn. Ball is dropping in. Nick Riewoldt again is winning an awful lot of ball. Interesting, in this third quarter, Australia have scored 16 points to Ireland 7. And certainly the third quarter, which has been described as the most important, seems to have favoured Australia, not alone in terms of possession, but in terms of the scoreboard. Nick Riewoldt has gotten more involved, Luke.
Yeah, he has, Marty, and the Australians go into three-quarter time here with a real spring in their step. I think they'd loved another 3 or 4 points, but 11 points is manageable, and with a bit of confidence, they're a chance here in the last quarter.
Very much.
Here's the third quarter scoreboard. Ireland 50, Australia 39. Interesting final quarter coming your way.
Ireland 50, Australia 39. Let's head back to the commentary box to rejoin Marty, Martin and Luke.
Thank you very much, Michael. Yes, at half-time, Ireland led by 20. That's now down to 11. And the question is, can Ireland get back into this match, get a grip? That third quarter belonged to Australia, but they really do need us. The lads were saying there, Desi, Sean Ogan, Kieran, that we need to get the ball in towards Bernard Brogan and Conor McManus. But the Australian, as they say in this part of the world, have their gander up and they're determined to try and retain that Cormac McAnallen Cup. Can they get back into this match? Very much alive, that prospect. 18 minutes to go in this final quarter of the International Rules Test 2015. Ball into space is a very, very poor one. Dyson Heppel is unmarked, and going forward here is Luke Hodge. Back to Heppel, who's unmarked. Diarmuid Connolly coming into challenge. Heppel goes for the corner, but a good mark indeed, and good defending by Philly McMahon.
This is where the Australians in the third quarter really pressed up, and you can see the hesitation here because they've got a lot of numbers in their forward half, the Australians.
Ball straight down the middle, gathered superbly by Harry Taylor. Harry again wanted to pump that ball in and put the pressure on the Irish inner defensive line. This is Andrew Gaff. 2 Irish players goes up, but it comes to David Munday and he's taken down. The referee says nothing. It says the ball is wide, and everything is, from an Australian perspective, is disappointing.
Been an issue, Marty, right around goal where they've had chances for 6-pointers. They just haven't been able to capitalise across the whole game, Australia.
Yeah, there was a little instinctive pass that time. We would have seen it to his left, would have given a great 6-point opportunity. But if you look at Marty, the way the game had gone in the third quarter, it was 16 points to 7 for Australia. That they have started this half quite well. But look at the man who's after fielding it, Aidan O'Shea.
His dominance in the first quarter was crucial, apart from his goals, but they don't use the possession wisely. Comes to Hayden Ballantyne. Niall Morgan has to come off his goal line. Don't wait for the ball in this particular match, you have to go for it. And Aidan O'Shea gets it into the centre, and eventually Ireland come forward. Jack McCaffrey. Speed is crucial now as he pumps it into space. The hopping ball is well gauged as Hodge comes forward. Good interplay with Andrew Gaff. Back to Luke Hodge again, pumping it into the Irish area. Nick Riewoldt has blossomed in the second and third quarter. Little layoff is absolutely perfect as the Irish with Donncha Walsh from Kerry putting it into the middle. The punt pass goes astray, easily gathered by Luke Hodge, Melbourne man, Hawthorns man, captain of Australia, playing a very defensive role, but seems to be going forward a little bit more in this final quarter. And once again it's Andrew Gaff. Nick Riewoldt trying to keep him at bay. It's Ireland's Rory O'Carroll, and that
45.
It's a 45, I think, is the indication from the umpire.
Yeah, if you just go back a couple of moments actually just to Philly McMahon, he's just executed a couple of delightful little defensive plays. Rather than getting his hand on the ball, he's these lovely little soccer flicks, clever little hand passes, not inviting the actual physical contact. Clever player.
Rory O'Carroll has obviously gone man-marking Nick Riewoldt, and that's clear strategy from Joe Kernan. The ball is dropping in again, gathered by Lee Keegan, and that's going to be a free out for Ireland.
Yeah, some people watching it will wonder, why is the 45 not taken from the ground, and why is it not kind of struck directly? You can run with the ball, or you can give a short pass like that. There's a couple of options available to you.
Matty Donnelly taking the mark.
Well, still no score here in the last quarter for either team. I feel like that is going to be a really important opportunity here for a turnover for Australia. Well, good mark there. Good on.
It's a very good mark by Owen Callaghan, but he really felt the challenge from David Mundy. And Owen Callaghan doesn't go down that easily. You can see the knee in the back, and he really felt that one.
Yeah, but in fairness to David Mundy, that is the Australian style of jumping knee first. Nothing kind of untoward about it, nothing menacing about that whatsoever. Again, unfortunately, Owen Callaghan's back doesn't think that.
No, obviously not. But he's fine. He's taken the free himself. He looks around at the various options. There are not too many, I'm afraid. Apart perhaps from Owen Doyle in front of the Hogan, but he goes down the middle. It's an easy ball to gather by Harry Taylor.
Yes, and the energy levels of the Irish has noticeably dropped off in the last quarter, and so far in this quarter.
Hayden Ballantyne. Ireland defending as Ballantyne floats this in again. Revolt is the one to watch, number 12. Ireland have it. They flick it away quickly. Gathering it is Aidan O'Shea. Good hands by Aidan O'Shea to Jack McCaffrey. Decides to use the punt pass. It's a good ball. Great defending by Luke Hodge, who came from a centre-back position to a right-half-back position. Great anticipation by the Australian captain.
Yeah, he's been a big factor, Luke Hodge, in the last quarter and a half. He's rooting into play, and his leadership back there at half-back has been enormous.
That's a very decisive piece of defending by him. Equally on the other side of the field, a great piece of defending by Rory O'Carroll.
Conor McManus unable to hold on to it. Wasn't quite expecting it. Andrew Gaff lays it back for Nick Smith. No score so far in this fourth quarter. We now have 5.5 minutes gone. Gathered here by Jack McCaffrey, skipping away from Robbie Gray. McCaffrey pumps it into space. One of them, two of them, they got their signals all mixed up, Conor McManus and Aidan O'Shea. Still McManus chases it. Still he managed to keep it in play. That's wonderful play by McManus, sheer determination. There's a chance here. Perhaps Ireland can get a score off the boot of Paul Kerrigan, and that is a behind. That is 1 point for the Nemo Rangers man.
As Gossett has taken 6 minutes to get a score at all in this quarter, and again finished by Paul Kerrigan that time. But good play, eventually rescuing a kind of a bit of a mix-up between Conor McManus and Aidan O'Shea. Good finish.
Australia just seem to be using their interchange players a little bit more. There's two more after coming on, and that's Grant Birchall and Easton Wood have just come on, and much more so than the Irish, who seem to go for a more settled perspective, which has worked, by the way, as Australia has fouled Hayden Ballantyne, and that's going to be a free in for the visitors.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder about these frees. I thought that time that was fairly, proper.
Floating in, there's a chance here for Revolt. What can he do? He's looking around, there's a possibility. Niall Morgan is there, so too, however, his own Doyle. And the moment is just gone for Australia.
Mucked up another opportunity there, golden opportunity for a six-pointer.
Pressure is still on Ireland, and once more it's Eddie Betts, who is quite a formidable force inside there. His spirit is strong and his football ability matches it. He's never given up, and he's going to take this free himself, well able to deal with the round ball. That is going to be a behind. That's a 1 point.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Australia have butchered so many great opportunities tonight at 6 pointers. Once again, they got inside the Irish defence, indecisive, not clinical, and a big disappointment for them because it mucks up some excellent approach play.
Here's a good look at it. Jake Stringer, who's a really powerful, quick athlete. He had a little handle over the top and just had too much hang time, and the Irish defenders were too good.
Great catch in the middle of the field by Gary Brennan, the Clare football captain from Clondigad. The referee, however, Joe McQuillan, wants to get the ball back. Not too sure what the decision is here.
Yeah, the scores have dried up badly in this quarter. When you think about it, Marty, we're over halfway through the quarter. How many scores have we had? 2 altogether in the quarter. It's been very disappointing.
Just 2 in this final quarter as Australia again had to seek out Stringer or Revolt, who's joined the full forward line as we would have it. Here indeed is Stringer, loading one in. There's a whistle gone, and referee, I think he wants that to be taken properly. There was a chance there for Dangerfield, who kept going. His momentum and speed was a vital factor here, but I did hear the referee's whistle go clearly.
Yeah, the whistle went certainly, and even when Dangerfield did get through, we noticed again the inability to take a 6-pointer was so glaringly obvious.
This is going to be taken by Robbie Gregg. That's an over. That is a 3-pointer.
Yeah, but let's look at the scoreboard. It's 51 points to 43. You know, one major for Australia, and my God, it's anybody's game.
And the Irish have gone very defensive, as you said, Martin. At three-quarter time, they put a loose man back. They've been trying to save this big lead they had at half-time. The Australians are on the attack, and they have to feel like they're a big chance here.
Very much so. They're mopping it up around the middle of the field at the moment. There's, just as I say, that's a commentator's curse.
Wonderful catch by Gary Brennan, who's proving beyond a shadow of a doubt in his first cap what a wonderful footballer. When you think of Kieran MacDonald and Michael Quinn and Gary Brennan from Tipperary, Longford and Clare, it shows you that in Division 3 and 4 there are some wonderful footballers, and this is their biggest stage for them.
Super impressed with the Irish marking in midfield, mate. It's been really, really impressive to watch.
Here comes Robbie Gregg getting inside Rory O'Carroll. But Philly McMahon is there, good covering. Matty Donnelly again has impressed with his work rate. This time
that's a big tackle from Paddy Dangerfield, really big play.
Hesitating, you're actually you'll be punished in this game. That time Matty was in two minds, tackled perfectly.
Really, that's a great catch indeed again by Gary Brennan. And giving it long, very long, and it's a quality ball. Up towards Conor McManus, knocking it back. Far is Diarmuid Connolly. Connolly has McManus to his right, he has Aidan O'Shea to his left. He's floating it in over the keeper. But Dustin Fletcher went into reverse, and he was back in time to prevent it going in under or over the crossbar. So Australia have it.
Well, big turnover here. Huge chance for Ireland.
There's a chance here. Bernard Brogan, what's he going to do? Going for the goal. Great stop by Fletcher. There's a chance, and it's off the crossbar. Should have been, could have been a goal.
That should have been the match settler, Marty. Great opportunity. I think Diarmuid Connolly eventually put it over the bar. Just watch it here. Brogan going forward with it. Great save, must be said.
Conor McManus.
Yeah.
Dustin Fletcher was unbelievable then. The 40-year-old, what about that? 400 AFL games. Saved the day there, Fletcher.
Not outside the 45-metre line. The kick-out has to go beyond the 45. With the result, the initiative on the free goes to Ireland.
Yeah, just at the moment, the initiative, Marty, to use your word, is coming, the pendulum is starting swinging in Ireland's direction again, just at the time we thought they had gone out of it.
Diarmuid Connolly takes the free, and he'd be satisfied enough to get even just 1 point out of it. That's a behind. So in the space of 2 minutes, or thereabouts, Ireland have got 4 points, and badly needed.
Badly needed. I thought, to be honest with you, they were quite, that they had looked under a little bit of pressure, but now they're a little bit more comfortable and adapting to the requirements that are needed over the last few minutes of the game.
This is Sam Mitchell looking around for a little bit of support. That's not immediately available. Had to release the ball. Conor McManus, Aidan O'Shea, here comes the challenge, has to release the ball again. Fair tackling by the Australians. They win the possession back. This is Tom Rockcliffe. Ball is lost momentarily, but once more it's Easton Wood that's going forward for the visitors. Backfires Sam Mitchell. Sam needs a little bit of support. Kicks it forward where a hand pass probably would have been a better option, but it's still there for Andrew Gaff, and Andrew drops it in. The goalkeeper has to come off his line, but the ball is in the net, and Ireland concede a goal. Australia have got a 6-pointer.
That's a good goal, beautiful cross ball, just again, beautifully angled, good score. That's very well taken. Ireland had no answer whatsoever to defending that.
Now they're going to the replay here. I think it looked like Eddie Betts' goal, and the umpire is going to the third umpire here. So that's umpire Matthew Nichols, experienced AFL umpire. He's gone upstairs to have a look at this one.
No, I think it was Jared Roughhead who got that actually.
Okay.
I think it's legitimate because he came from outside the small square. Might be wrong on that, but I thought it was legitimate.
What is the verdict?
Sorry, we're just checking to see if it's a square ball first. We're just checking if it's offside.
So what's the rule here, Marty? You need to come from outside the small square before the ball.
Have to say, to me, Martin, it looks like a legitimate goal.
Okay, that's all clear from my point of view.
Okay, fair. So it is a goal, all clear. Yep. No, you.
So the goal stands. It seemed perfectly legitimate from our perspective, and third official agreed. So it's Eddie Betts that gets the credit.
Yeah, well, to me it was perfectly legitimate. Okay, I can see why there was a question about it. There were one or two in the small square, but it wasn't the player in the small square that actually finished off the move. It was the guy, maybe Eddie I thought myself when I saw it first it was Jared Roughhead who got it, but Eddie Betts has been credited with it, and it was perfectly legitimate.
Either way, we're back to 6 points and some momentum with Australia. So this is a really, really big centre bounce we're about to take here.
Now, what about this for a climax and a finish? And it's Gary Brennan that gets a touch and the challenge in. Picked up here by Dyson Heppel. Just 5 points between the teams, 6 points between the teams. As with just 4 minutes left to go. What's going to happen here at Croke Park? Here's Andrew Gaff getting inside Jack McCaffrey, putting it forward. Australia have a chance. They're in front of the goals. They take the shot, and that is an over. That is 3 points.
A very good score, but Ireland will be absolutely disgusted. They'll be scratching their head and wondering how in the name of God they have contrived to allow Australia back into this when they had such a commanding lead at half-time. The old curse of going defensive, I think, has actually kind of come back to bite Ireland in this case. I would credit Australia with the sense of adventure they have shown in the third and fourth quarter.
Oh, there's a bit of tension here at Croke Park, Marty. All of a sudden there's 38,000, nearly 40,000 here, and they're starting to feel it.
3 points between Ireland and Australia, and in the middle of the field we have some wonderful high fielding and marking. Going forward, it's Robert Murphy as the Australians sense that they could actually get this at the death. They've been behind all through this match. At the end of the first quarter they trailed by 8 points. The end of the second quarter was 20 points. The end of the third, 11. Right now, with 3 minutes to go, it's 3 points between Ireland and Australia.
Yeah, but they're so naturally disposed to attack, Marty, that they were never really out of this game, and they deserve, on the basis of their second and third quarter, to be within striking distance of Ireland.
Colin Begley going to take this free.
Played 30 AFL games, Colin Begley. Australian people understand that with Brisbane and St Kilda.
Sideline ball for Ireland on this occasion as Aidan O'Shea went up for it. This is Vice-Captain Lee Keegan. Looking at options. Ireland really do need to keep possession now as much as possible. Gathering it cleanly is Dyson Heppel. Back far is Andrew Gaff. Going forward is Sam Mitchell. This is Mitchell picking it up cleanly. Looking for the help and support of Luke Hodge. But the ball is given away to Peter Hart. Ireland have to have this opportunity as Paul Kerrigan. It's Bernard Brogan taken down, and the referee,
that's a good tackle,
has blown his whistle, I think, but I'm not too sure.
Well, it has to be holding the ball. There's no other way. So what's he doing? The umpire is calling a ball up.
No, I thought that was a perfectly executed tackle. Bernard Brogan got the ball, was certainly pulled up, but pulled down legitimately.
Yeah, extraordinary decision.
Controversy at the very end as Aidan O'Shea tries to get a ball in. Fletcher just pulls in it. Aidan O'Shea is there, has to release the ball again. Ireland tried to put the pressure on the Australians, but they're defending manfully and courageously. Sam Mitchell gets it out over the sideline. Sideline ball for Ireland. And listen to the roar of over 36,000 people. They're really enjoying. Joe Kernan is down the sideline with Porrick Joyce. The clock is ticking towards that 18th minute and a half left. What's Paul Kerrigan going to do in front of the Cusack stand?
Well, certainly the last quarter has engaged the crowd in a big way. Credit the Australians in the way they've come back from a seemingly impossible position.
Andrew Gaff half blocked it on the Australians. Look at the spirit of the Australians. Throwing everything at this. Luke Hodge over for Sam Mitchell. The Australians go into counter-attack mode. The long ball. Still battling hard is Robbie Gray. Across comes Philly McMahon. Lee Keegan, Peter Hart, back to Keegan once more, getting rid of the ball quickly. The mark is for Aidan O'Shea, and he'll try and calm matters down.
They're very defensive, haven't they, the Irish, since half-time. They've really just tried to do this, hold on to the ball. There's still enough time for an Australian score.
I'm just wondering if that ball there actually went backwards, Marty. And I thought when the ball went backwards, it can't be marked.
Yes.
Darren Hughes got the mark on this occasion. Gary Brennan got another one, and is just in front of the Hogan stand, taking this for Donegal Walsh.
Australian coaching staff down there screaming the man up now. They really need to get one-on-one here, force a turnover.
Walsh drops it in. Right man, right place. Second right man, right place. It's Bernard Brogan. Mayo and Dublin combine. In the last few seconds of this international, the crowd are rightly behind their country now. They've anticipated this wonderful match that has turned out from one quarter to another. Wonderful defending by Australia, wonderful fight back by Australia. But Ireland have finally found their rhythm in the last few seconds as the clock ticks towards 18th minute. 56-52. And the hooter sounds. The free is still going to be taken by Conor McManus, which is allowed, and McManus will go to finish off this, but Darren Fletcher will put it away, and the result favours Ireland. Ireland captain Bernard Brogan congratulates his own teammates, commiserates with the Australians, including Darren Fletcher. But what about Joe Kernan, managing Crossmaglen to All-Ireland club titles, his county Armagh to an All-Ireland title, and now Ireland to the international rules test, and the Cormac McAnallen Cup will be staying in Ireland over the next 12 months.
I think Ireland deserved their victory. Admittedly, in the second quarter the loss is 16-7, the third quarter the loss is 13-6, but what they did in the first two quarters, they blitzed the Australians in that time. They created enough of a lead to actually be able to kind of hold out, but there's no doubt about it, the curse of defending too early and from too far out nearly came back to haunt them.
What I loved, I think this concept's alive and well from an Australian point of view. The Australians, they'll love this. They'll love the fact that the Irish served it up to them. There was talk about a 3-year deal today, so I hope everyone who's watched that back in Australia and here in Ireland loves the international rules. I thought it was a great game, great spirit, and the Irish are just too good. Well done.
Well, I think the AFL and the GA will both be happy with this. Ireland 56, Australia 52, and certainly the crowd of over 36,000 thoroughly enjoyed, and really you could sense the emotion and sense the spirit evolving and developing as the game progressed. And you have to give credit to the Australians. They really fought back courageously and bravely in this second half in particular.
Yeah, I think they'll be proud of that, Marty. They really started slowly, and the skill level of the Irish was too much, but you know, they're a proud group. They've assembled a really good team here, and they would have felt like they had a good chance in the second half. Just some missed opportunities. They had a lot of chances, you know, close to goal that went begging. The class of the Irish was maybe just a little bit too much in the end.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. The challenge and the impetus and that Ireland created early on stood to them, but the challenge then that Australia threw down to them in the third and fourth quarter made a wonderful spectacle of it, and it's something that engaged and exercised the crowd right to the final whistle. But credit to Joe Kernan and the team he's put together. Credit to the likes of Philly McMahon. I thought Aidan O'Shea in particular, I might be a little bit biased in that. Conor McManus excellent, as was Lee Keegan, but a very, very good Irish display.
Now let's go down to the sideline for some post-match reaction with Damien O'Mara.
And I'm joined by Aidan O'Shea. I was just wondering, as we walked across the pitch, is the feeling one of relief as much as euphoria after getting over the line?
Yeah, I think we played very well the first two quarters. Last year Australia really beat us to the punch, and we were chasing the game from there. We probably lost our shape in the second half, and we missed a couple of easy chances, let them back into the game, and Eddie Betts came up with a good goal and put us under real pressure towards the end, but just delighted to get over the line.
So what was the message then ahead of the fourth quarter? Was it to try and seal the game out, or to go and extend the 11-point lead you carried into it?
To be honest, after the third quarter we felt we didn't have enough energy in the pitch, and we just wanted to increase our intensity levels and try and take a few more chances going forward, and I think we did that, but unfortunately we weren't clinical enough. But look, we got over the line, so we're just happy.
You've achieved so much in the game to represent your country like this, to play in front of a crowd of 38,000 like this for Ireland. What does it mean realistically for the players?
Look, it's special because we only come together the last couple of weeks, and you don't get an opportunity to play with the guys, from around the county, and everybody come out here tonight. It's been brilliant. It's been a great atmosphere, and it's great to test ourselves against Australia. I think that series has breathed life into the game again, and I'm just delighted.
And just a word on the Australians, the way they approach the game. So much has been said about it in the past, but a great contest, and they showed great resilience to nearly get back into it.
Yeah, look, Australia, in fairness, have started to bring their best players, and that's only good for the series. And tonight you're seeing some of the best AFL players, and you've seen it out on the pitch, some really, really good footballers. So, as I said, it bodes well for the series going forward, and long may it continue.
Thanks for your time. Congratulations, Aidan.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yes, well done to Ireland, and you can see Nick Riewoldt there with an Irish jersey, and Tadhg Kennelly, who has a foot in both camps, being a proud Irishman and obviously living and residing now in Australia and highly respected. It's nice. I know Tadhg is going to be staying in County Kerry and Ireland for the next couple of weeks, but there's no doubt about it, Luke, that there is a great positivity, as Pádraig Duffy told us yesterday for the RT News Bulletin I was doing, that the AFL and the GA feel that there is massive potential in this to grow and develop.
Yeah, I think so, Marty. I feel like treated the right way. You need the timing. I think the Australian players get a bit of a bad rap. It has been a timing issue. The gun players, they want to be part of this. They want to represent their country. They've got great respect for Ireland. They've got great respect for Gaelic footy. A lot of us are great fans of the way you play the game. We've learned a lot about our game from the Irish too. So they're disappointed. This is a proud group of players there. They're not taking this anything but 100% seriously. They'll be gutted tonight. They came over here expecting to win. Very proud group, and as we said, I get the feeling this series is alive and well, and long may it continue, as the Irish boys just said.
And there is the possibility, I know it's not decided, but I know there'll be a lot of conversation. I think what we saw here today was positive as well, that there might be a possibility of a 2-match series, because it's a long way, whichever way you're travelling, and possibly a game in America as well.
Yeah, I think so, man. I think you want to have a second go. I mean, the Australians, they'd love a second chance. I think they're really slow out of the blocks. I think you guys called it really accurately. They were a little bit, out of sorts. They're in their off season. They needed a bit of a run, and when they came good in the second half, it was a really good contest. So it used to always be a 2 or 3 game series. So I think it's time that we looked at that. And the New York concept is a good one. So many Australians and Irish have got a great affinity with New York, and I think that'd be a nice bonus to add to it.
Martin Carney, I obviously sitting beside you here and listening to your comments, and I know you've been an Irish selector in the past, but and while this series has had its problems, there is a willingness and a positivity that this is an international dimension that the GA want and need.
Oh, very much so. It was played, I think, Luke would agree with me on this, it was played in a great spirit tonight. There was never any sense that negativity was going to create an advantage for one team or the other. They both played the ball, they went for the ball. Never there was any situation where they were going for the man. There was never any sense of becoming over aggressive or that explosiveness that we can do without. But I would certainly think that Ireland started much better. They play, the circumstances of the game, like they just came quicker to it than Australia, and fully deserve the victory.
Well, the president of the GAA, Gunnar O'Farrell, is going to present the Cormac McAnallen Cup to the winning captain, Bernard Brogan, in just a moment, in the presence of An Taoiseach Enda Kenny.
This series is very safe, and we all look forward to renewing it again next year in 2016. Well done to Australia. You were the holders of the Cormac McAnallen Cup. This was a very close game, but tonight belongs to Ireland. And on a night of history, could I again, on behalf of the GAA, congratulate the Irish manager, Joe Kiernan, who is the only man ever to have brought his club, his county, his province, and now his country to ultimate success. Marshin Curtin Ahasar and Maruktaran are coming to scale on Trophy Bra Allian Shaw in honour of the Cormac McAnallen of Ronuanish on Dub Leach Allian Shin Bernard Brogan.
The international rules test belongs to Ireland. Bernard Brogan, captain of Ireland, lifting a cup in memory of a wonderful Tyrone footballer, Cormac McAnallen. Fireworks around Croke Park, creating a wonderful atmosphere.
Cormac McAnallen, a glacke, his son, Finn Aaron. I just have a couple of small words, a couple of small thank yous to give today. Firstly, to to this group of players who have committed themselves after inter-county a long year for the last 12 weeks, every Friday and Saturday morning. The effort and commitment they put in was phenomenal, and you see it out there today. It was phenomenal. Well done, lads. To our management team, it was mentioned Joe Kiernan, our backroom staff of Dermot Early, Pádraig Joyce and Darrell O'Shea, legends of the game that gave us the commitment, and our 10 other backroom team that got us prepared for today. Thanks a million, lads. For the sponsors, Air Green and Irish Daily Mail, for making this happen. This game is about the players. The Australians who brought an amazing team and showed their commitment to it. I'll give a big cheer for the Australians today, lads. I think today showed the appetite from both nations about this game. The players want to play it. It's an opportunity for us to put on the green of Ireland, and the Australians represent their country. So hopefully it's the start of beautiful things for this game. Come on, the Irish!
Great words from Bernard Brogan, Billy McMahon, his county mate there, Colin Begley, Conor McManus. Great moment for these amateur footballers like Paul Kerrigan to go from club to county to country, like Gary Brennan from Clondegad. Great moment indeed, and an international dimension like Paul Cribben and Owen Cadigan. The list is endless, but it certainly is a great moment for all these footballers.
And in the commentary box this evening were, of course, Marty Morrissey, Martin Carney and Luke Darcy. Well, congratulations once again to the Irish lads and to Joe Kernan and the job that he has done with this Irish team. And can I just say best wishes as well to Pádraig Joyce, who has just brought down the curtain on his club career as well, of course, as he did a few years ago with his Galway career. Pádraig, we won't see many like you again. In the studio here, let's get the thoughts of our panel. Kieran Whelan, it's been a good night from an Irish point of view. And the thing about tonight was, it was a good game, it was tight at the finish, it was exciting, the crowd enjoyed it, so this puts everything back on course again.
Yeah, it needed a shot in the arm, Michael, no doubt about it, and it's got a strong endorsement from the players. That was an all-Australian team, all-stars, the best in Australia against a great Irish side, 9 of our current all-stars, and I think it shows the critics of this series that the players want it. We spoke about beforehand, it is an opportunity to wear your country's jersey. It's an opportunity to go out there next year and live life as a professional footballer for two or three weeks, which is something players don't get to experience.
All right, let's hear from the Australian goalkeeper Dustin Fletcher. He is with Damien.
Dustin, not quite the end to an illustrious career that you would have wanted.
No, it wasn't, but we were a bit slow to start, but in the end the crowd got a good game and the Irish were too good.
Did it just slip away from you in those early quarters, or did you think you were done enough to maybe get yourselves back in and get over the line in the end?
No, I think we're always confident. I think just with the one game it makes it a little bit difficult, but it'd be nice to have 2 games again. You know, the first one you can go and have another go the second time, but credit to the Irish, they were too good. The game was played in good spirits.
We just borne witness to a great AFL tradition as you were carried off the pitch, the end of a 23-year professional career. It must be a night of mixed emotions for you.
Yeah, it is. To play in front of 40, 50,000 over in Ireland, it means a lot to me. And starting footy as a 17-year-old school kid, it's 40-year-old now, so it's been fantastic.
You've earned it. Enjoy the retirement. Thank you very much for your time.
Boys, thanks for having me.
Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Damien. And the point about that, Sean, as we were saying here in the studio, and Dustin Fletcher was saying it, he'd like to see it go back to 2 games. And it's amazing how things sway in this. There was a couple of years ago, as I was saying, people were saying there should be no game. No.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the first year that the series was officially launched in '84, I mean, look at over that period, it's changed. So this thing's a movable beast. And look, I think after tonight, it's going to merit 2-game series, hopefully for next year on, because I think the Aussies were warming up to the idea as the game was going on, and Ireland were hanging on for dear life. And as Kieran mentioned, they had the fat built up in the first 2 quarters, and I think we all would have loved to see another game next week, I mean, that's the way it is this year. Ireland take the bacon home now, fair play to them, and they can, and then all of the guys now can enjoy a good winter off now, and I'm sure it would have been later in the line like this, at the last quarter huddle. that like this was eyeballs out for the last quarter because it was their probably last hit out for the year, unless you're Michael Quinn, who's playing tomorrow.
Well, I was just going to say there's a few of these guys actually playing tomorrow. But anyway, at this point, our Australian viewers are going to leave us from Croke Park. I hope that you have enjoyed the action and do have a good day.